Okay, so this is the introduction to brain behavior and cognition. I'm the course director. This is Dr. Braderick. I just want to give you guys a brief breakdown of the cases. For this block, we've got 12 cases, 8 of which will be neurology/neuroscience, and 4 will be psychiatry. We'll have a few role sessions, we'll have advocate communicator, and we will teach you the physical exam based on neurology, also called the neurologic physical exam. The major disciplines involved are listed here. We've got quite a bit of anatomy content, and neuroscience and neurology are kind of packaged together. And of course, pharmacology, because it's the most important discipline in the world. And then you guys will also have some pathology with Dr. Poole, microbiology and immunology, of course, with Dr. Richards, genetics with Dr. Jones, and some histology with Dr. Al Ghul and or Dr. Verdi. In terms of the grade, there's going to be 12 session quizzes. The midterm is going to be kind of a large formative. It's going to be covering cases 1 through 5, and it's going to have a lot of anatomy content on there as well. You can see that the front portion of the course, the first, I'd say, two and a half weeks, are heavily loaded with anatomy content. The formative is going to be a typical formative. It's going to cover cases 6 through 10. So a few neurology cases and 2 psychiatry cases, I believe. And the summative exam, or the final exam, is going to cover all cases and all material. We've got some new basic science faculty joining us. This is the other Dr. Braderick, who's in the College of Health Sciences. She's also our Associate Discipline Director for Pharmacology. She'll be helping out tremendously as I kind of wear my course director hat. She'll be going room to room to see if you guys have any neuropharmacology questions. She's an expert in neuropharmacology, so that's why I recruited her for this particular block. In terms of neuroscience, we've got Dr. Hepner, who you've already met, pictured here at the top, and then Dr. Staub, who's an associate professor also in the Department of Neurology. He will be assisting Dr. Hepner in some of these small group discussions. Neurology faculty that will be helping out include Dr. Megan Bailey, as well as Maggie McNulty, who's also the fellowship director, but she's also the associate discipline director for neurology. One added benefit about the neurology cases is that we've got several neurology residents that are signed up, and they'll be kind of rotating room to room. So in any given case, you can have obviously your assigned clinical educator, but you will also have one of the 2 neuroscientists, either Dr. Hepner or Dr. Staub, and one of these 2 neurology faculty, Drs. Bailey or Dr. McNulty, helping out. So in any case, you'll have 2 or 3 neurologists or neuroscientists per room, and they'll be rotating around. Psychiatry faculty, you've probably already met these guys in previous courses. One thing that's different from last year is that we've got much more psychiatry integration within the whole curriculum. And so you've met actually Dr. Sheth and Dr. Dance in previous courses. And so they'll be coming back for the last 4 cases, which are all psychiatry. And we're going to go through some really interesting psychiatric disorders. They're going to teach you how to really kind of go through the DSM-5 criteria and how to attack that to understand some of these psychiatric conditions. I do want to point out the neurologic exam, which was scheduled for early May. You've seen numerous emails. I just wanted to include this in the video. So we've got the May 6th group, anatomy groups 2, 4, 6, and 8. We'll be doing the lab anterior cervical triangle portion in the morning, and then those groups in the afternoon are going to start at 1 p.m., and that's going to be in rooms 710 through 713. The Tuesday neurology exam is going to be in the morning with anatomy groups, the odd number groups 1, 3, 5, and 7 in those specific rooms listed here. And then in the afternoon, you're going to go back to the anatomy lab for the face and the parotid region. And then Wednesday, May 8th, is the makeup session. and that'll be 10 a.m. And that's for the students who could not make either the Monday or the Tuesday session if they were assigned, and that's going to be in room 539. Also, I wanted to point out that on Thursday, May 9th, there's also an anatomy lab in the morning, and this is for everyone, temporal and infratemporal fossa. And then in the afternoon, we'll return to the anatomy lab, but you'll be looking at coronal brain slices with Dr. Hebner. And the name of that exercise is called brain slices, but it's exactly what it sounds like. You'll literally look at slices with Dr. Hebner and a few other neurology and neuroscience people as well. I did want to point out that the plan of study will still be kind of given to you. This is going to be really important to kind of follow for your success in this course. The only thing that's different from possible previous plans of study or iterations is I made another column here called due by. There are certain lectures or certain topics that we don't really require you to have mastery level for, but we want you to kind of review them. And to that regard, it's a lot of the anatomy and the neuroscience / neurology material. We don't expect you to be masters of this content by case 1 or case 2, etc. But you definitely need to review that content by that assigned due date. And so I sat down with Drs. Wilson and Dr. Hebner, and we really tried to pull apart and kind of decompress some of this material so that you understand that you need to review it and look at it before some of these labs and before some of these exercises, but we're not expecting you to walk in there knowing it inside and out. Case in point, there's a lecture video called Cranial Nerves. I think you should know how many cranial nerves there are, and be specific, be able to talk about the different names of them. But it's the goal of the first 4, maybe 5 cases to kind of take you through all the cranial nerves and be able to localize where these nerves are coming out and what they're controlling. Okay, and so that's just one example. So we based on feedback from last year's students, and I'm sure you've talked to the M2 students by this time, is that the first couple of weeks were very, very content heavy, and they still relatively are. But I do want you to understand that you don't necessarily need to master a lot of this content. You need to review it and kind of look at it and be ready to kind of pull it apart and develop it. At least for some of these larger lectures in neurology, anatomy, and neuroscience. I think with these specific disciplines like immunomicro, genetics, pathology, pharmacology, it's pretty much the same as it's always been. It's very focused on this specific case or this specific disease. Okay, some of these topics that you can look at here in terms of neurology, these are things that you obviously need for case 1, but you also need them for case 2, and 3, and 4, and all the way down. So these are things that are very important, and you should kind of be able to kind of go back and review. So this plan of study was really meant to kind of to decompress some of that material and keep you aware that there are some things that you really kind of need to stay on track on. And I also wrote this. This is in the first case material, but basically this is just kind of a welcome, and this is basically just saying what I just said is that there are certain topics that you're going to have to kind of come back to, and so even though the first packet is like 250 pages, there's certain information in there that's going to be useful for that case 1. And then other things are going to be kind of referred to cases 2, 3, 4, and 5. But you can't pull apart a lot of this material because it does kind of build on itself. Okay, so welcome to BBC. I hope you guys are excited.